So let's look at some charts. Now remember, if you get up at a certain time of day, you can't say that that would have been a great trade, because it would have, right? It would have definitely been a good trade. But let's say that you got up right there when the roosters start crowing. Chickens don't crow when the rooster crows, right? And you say, okay, great. I've got a trade that I should have been in down here, but I wasn't up at 445. Okay. So what we're going to talk about tonight is going to be how to wait for the trade to come to you, but also we're going to talk in detail about line in the sand, so that when they break those line in the sands, you can count on the fact that they will go down. You just have to wait for the proper retracement to get it. And sometimes you can take the break itself, but you got to be more careful with that. Okay. Now, this is one of those situations right here where you say, okay, I got up at 5 o'clock. They might get up here. It looks like predictor says here even. Could you actually take this trade anyway? Well, the only way I would do it is if it went my way, period. I wouldn't even give it a stop like this. Okay, so obviously what you have to do is you have to wait. And I got up this morning, and my son actually had a little bit of problems with his Viper license today, because for some reason his machine had changed IDs. And by the way, if anybody's machine ever changes IDs on you, just simply give us a call. It can be an urgent type thing. Linda can go right into the Ninja service. We've got a server that actually does the licensing, and she can quickly turn you on. But she has no way to know if somebody's license, their machine ID changes. And like I say, I'm talking to the programmer about some other ways to do it, but basically you have to go through somebody that offers a license type thing. And I did that years ago, and that didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. That was about 10 years ago. So we may just stick with what we've got, but just realize if your machine ID changes at all and you get something saying you're expiring, then just give us a call immediately and we'll make sure it's taken care of. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so basically, if you were to take this right here, you've got to realize that it's already run. Now, could it take this out? Could it head on up here? Could it do a measured move? You don't really know, but the thing is, how many of you have gotten up at a certain time of the morning and seen that there's just absolutely no way to get a trade because it's already happened? So what I would do, and I do every day of my life, is first off, I'm going to draw on my chart. I see a swing, high, low, higher, high. I would draw a line right here. Charles used to do this really well. I see a swing right across here, high, low, higher, high. So I draw a line right across there. I see that also tagged that swing. So that's my line in the sand long short. It's that easy to do. Now, that's my line in the short right now. But what if this actually does go ahead and break up and then come back? I'm just going to do hypothetical for a minute because we don't know what it's going to do yet. But let's say it did something like that. And then this, where would my new line in the sand long short be? It's real easy to see, right? It'd be right here. That's if that happened. So your line in the sand is always changing. Now, there's a conservative line in the sand. There's an aggressive line in the sand, okay? Now, to give an example over here on the left side of the chart, does everybody see at this particular moment, you had a low, a high, and a lower low? So you notice that they broke that and they came back and kissed it later on because we just drew it. But isn't that a line in the sand to go long? Isn't this area right here literally where you could actually go long on that if it breaks that swing? That's your line in the sand. Okay, and as you can see that it did do that, right? But you got to wait for the break and a pullback, okay, and then take it out. Then you got to put your stop in, okay, because they're not going to be most of the time where they just break it and just keep going. It's usually going to break, come back, and then take it out. And this was even a little sloppier, but I would have taken this trade right across here. I would have seen this break. That's what I've been looking for. And then I would simply box this area in when it went back above it. And it faked you right there. And would I have taken that trade? Yeah, I would have, because it broke the line in the sand, so I kind of figured that it would head up. Okay, but you'd have to put your stop here. Okay, so let's see. So lower dots don't constitute a line in the sand. Well, on your question, Maz, on your question there, this is actually a Lightning 3. Now, again, Lightning 3 does not show up in real time, because Lightning 3, what Lightning 3 has to do is it's set on a 4 range, 15 swing strength. So let's say that you had a Lightning 3 down here. This is going to have about 8 bars ever go up and then get a higher low and break. And see, this did a Lightning 3 here, okay? But this wouldn't have actually drawn until probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about right in through here, that would probably draw. Because there's a point of no return, and we've got that built into the script, into the code. And so Object Trader scripts know to draw this as soon as you get a pullback and it starts, a certain amount of bars. It's got to get these swings, okay? Because you'll notice that if you drew Lightning 3 here, Lightning 3 just goes straight up, see, like that, okay? But when this drew, this was not through here, okay? This doesn't draw like, wouldn't it be great if that would draw right there? But it won't. It's got to actually get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 possibly, and that probably would draw, okay? But they draw in enough time to get you to where you can actually be on the right side of the trade, though. Because, see, this actually did break up. We know it did, right? Because in hindsight, we can look at that, obviously. But now we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we're trying to figure out what are we going to do with this trade, okay? But you still want to draw your line in the sand long short off of your chart. See, like you got a high, low, higher, high. This is pretty much your conservative line in the sand, line in the sand long short, okay? And the Lightning 3 will be a very good conservative line in the sand long short. Now, be careful, though, when you see a Lightning 3 and you say, okay, I'm going to short this because that's my line in the sand. Well, it's not, because this would have had to have a high, a low, and a higher high. So for this to have ever been the line in the sand, it would have had to have done that. And it didn't. It actually got a lower high. So when you get a lower high or even the same high, like a double top, they're going to usually come back and check the previous swing. And if they're going to head up, they're going to give you a higher low. And that's exactly what they did there, see? And that's basically what they do all day long. Did anybody remember me saying in the room that, with SE being, just pretty sloppy, I wasn't going to, trade it simply because it was just sloppy? I even mentioned the term, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot vaccinated crowbar. But did you notice after the room closed, it broke the line in sand long short, and I went long on that thing, and it made some good serious coin. Matter of fact, I'll show you real quick. This is, you remember that one account that I'm working on that I said I have to get it above 22,600 to get a paycheck, okay? But notice I'm almost there. I've got about 2,200 to go, okay? So, what you want to do with your accounts is, if you have a good day like I did that one day I showed, and I did like 67.80, then you got to get 22,000 before you get a paycheck on that particular PA. Now that PA is not alone. There's others down below, but I try to show just what I work on the particular day. That way it doesn't get confusing. Okay, so that's what I got on it today. All right, so basically though, the way to do this is you got to stay on the right side of the trade, okay? If you get a mid-band trade first time in after a trend change and it doesn't take out that top to the left, then you don't want that second mid-band. I don't care if it goes up 10 ticks or not. It's up to you. But if you box it in, what if you boxed it right here and you got filled here? Did that get 10 ticks? Probably not. So if you don't take out a high with a mid-band, you want to look for a lower entry always. Okay, because either that or they're going to bounce off that support, but they'll let you know they're bouncing. They won't take it out. Okay, so back to the dilemma though. We say, whoa, wait a minute. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I don't see a trade on here unless I box this in. Do I want to box that in? Anybody? What does the team think? What would you do there? No, absolutely. Stair stepping or don't. There you go. There you go. All right. So, and that's a very good rule of thumb too, Bob, because see, Bob's talking about right here. This was stair stepping. You take the trade. Was that stair stepping? No. Now, was this one stair stepping? Yeah, a little bit. But truthfully, for it to stair step, it would be taking out these highs. Okay. Now let's see. Let's just look at this real quick. This is in playback. I just want to show you how to get in trades and how to do the. Don't pay any attention to this. I should have taken that off. Let me just take those off. The reason that's 51,000 seconds is because we're in playback mode. So I'm going to take that indicator off. Bid and ask. Removal. And we don't need chart time either that way. All right. So basically what we're talking about here, you got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and there's your mid-band right there. Draw you a line on it even and see if it stair steps. Also, get ready to do a Fibonacci so that you can get ready to get your retracement. Okay. Now, depending on how high this decides to go is going to tell me where I want my fib at. Okay. I want it pretty close to midband, but now keep in mind if this closes above this little shadow here, maybe we should have boxed that, but we don't. So let's go ahead and see if it does. See, it stair-stepped it. See there? It stair-stepped it. Now, if it stair-steps like that, then guess what? You're ready for another trade. Okay? That rule of thumb right there, if you'll put that in the deepest coffers of your mind and just try to bring it up and remember it continually with that muscle memory, just say, hey, Gary said that you got to have a stair-stepping midband. You go into this flatlining stuff right here, and they'll eat your lunch. Because what happens is those high-frequency traders, the algos kick in. So by the time you even see this trade here, it's already up to here, and you get 4 or 5 ticks and then it's right back in your face. So you don't want to do that, okay? We are retracement traders, and we are not chase traders. Now, to me, looking at this, if this is starting to come back, I would want it to at least come to a 50. I don't like 38% unless they're a lot deeper, a lot stronger move. To me, 24.35 to 24.39 is only 40 ticks. So I wouldn't personally do this at a 38. It's not even going to be at midband. Okay. So now what we have to do as a trader, okay, we've let it try to start coming back. So we want to turn on our object trader. And we'll just go ahead and turn it on. And by the way, I just put this version on, so I've just got the default. But if you want to, you can simply set this at like 8 ticks. Some of our people like 12 on here, and then 16 as a third target, and you can always move your target. And that way you're getting in, for 8 ticks, 12 ticks, and 16, that's 36 ticks. So if you happen to get those targets, that's a $360 trade. If you only get 2 of them, it's 20 ticks. If you get just one of them, obviously it's only 8 ticks. Okay, because then you can even go back to break even. See your break even trigger right here? Let's say that you said, okay, I want at least, I don't know, let's say we want 12 ticks before it goes to break even. Okay, and then you can even tell it you want an offset on it if you want, +2, -2, whatever you want. Okay, now, if you want to save this as your default, you just simply click save and save it as default. Okay, but if you want this to be like a template, let's say we want to call this scalp trade instead. This. All right, then you just save it like that. But you got to remember, though, that the default is going to be, if you cancel this and start it over, your default is still the way we sent it out. Okay, you would have to pull up that template to get your scalp one. Because see, if I go down here again, you'll notice that my object trader is still 12, 20, 25, and 40. But if I load my template, all right, why aren't you loading my template? Did I not save that template? I thought I did. Just a second. Load. Huh. And maybe this playback, very, very possibly. Let's see, template. No. Huh, I don't know why that's not doing that. All right, so we'll just change it here and just leave it on here for right now. 8, 12, and 16. That's probably this playback because I got it stalled and it may not let it load it. I don't know. All right, and then we'll put it on break-even trigger at 12. And we'll just leave it. We won't save the template. All right, so that'll actually come in at 8, 12, and 16 like that. Okay, let's see. Maz, on which question? Well, when you're talking about conservative line in the sand versus aggressive, now to me, let me look at, if you think about aggressive, okay, if you're super aggressive, then what did this do right here? You had a low, a high, a little higher low maybe. You break this little swing right here, that little swing right there, this would be super aggressive. That's a lightning swing though, like that right there. That would be super aggressive. So if they break that and you take it, but see how they usually come back and almost kiss it anyway? I see that all the time. Okay, but that's super aggressive. Okay, your less aggressive would have been this swing right here. But you've got to wait for it to break it, see that broke it, come back and give a higher low and then box it in. Okay, you're welcome. All right, let's go back over here. All right, so we're looking for a trade. So what you could actually do, now keep in mind we do have a Fibonacci trader, 50% on. Okay. Oh, and real quick, one thing I wanted to mention too, some of the people have kind of thought, these colors may be a little bit too much. I did that mainly so you could group them. by the different types. But I had someone the other day, and all we did is just you go into Object Trader, and down here where the colors are for your Object Trader, right down here, just change all those to black and save it as your default. And if you don't want these to be all colored like that. Colors are fine with you, Dennis? Okay. Some people had been a little bit, not as happy with colors, but all you got to do is just click them to black and then save your template as default. Okay. So let's see if we can get a trade. First off, I'm even going to do a region. So you could do a region down here. And I would pretty much put my region like right on top of that 50, or just even like at the 61 or halfway in between. So we go a 50 and a region and simply turn on. And usually what you want to do is you want to be careful with retracement trades. You don't have to go all in. You can just go 2 contracts if you want to. But since we got it set for 3, we'll go ahead and do 3. But we'll do it two one time and then 1 another time. That way we don't get in all 3 at once. Okay? So basically, when you get up and you see this type of thing happen, I can tell you almost 90% of the time, if you jump in that trade, you're going to get taken. Because see how it just went up a little bit more? It may go up some more. I mean, it just might do it. But you notice that it's kind of not. Like see how it bounced right off our 50? I don't know why that didn't fire. That playback stuff just doesn't. I use this thing all the time, and it fires just fine. Yeah, we missed that one because of that. That's all right. Anyway, you can see what I'm talking about right here. Let's see. You've got caught many times in taking a trade like that. Yeah, and the thing you don't want to do is you don't want to just constantly get, taken on your trades. It's just not a good way to trade. It's just like this right here. Even though I had that set for 50, did I have it turned on? Yeah, I've got my 50 turned on. I got my region turned on. I don't know why in that world that didn't fire. I'm not sure. More than likely it's because the data is not really exactly where that was at that time, because playback data is different, and that's probably what it was. But we can still get it if it'll turn around at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to get it right. They're underneath that swing right there. See if they'll test it. And we'll go 2 ticks above it even. So if it touches that, yeah, there you go. You got it. Okay. So now you're in all 3. There you go. See? Okay. So basically, that right there is what you would do to get in the trade. You could either use your auto region. Well, actually, you'd use your region in that case because it was way up here at the time. So region, remember, will draw on the chart at a particular spot, and it doesn't move. The auto region does move. Okay. So now the way you can do this particular trade, by the way, is you could go ahead and say, okay, maybe it'll get up to this predictor right here, and that'll give you even a little bit better trade. Okay, because there's 8 ticks, there's 12. I think we went to break even at 12, right? We get 12 yet? There you go, you're at break even. See how that works? Now this would keep you from getting any loss on this trade because you've already taken 2 contracts off. Okay? And if it gets up there, and there you go, you just got yourself like $420. Now, we're going to talk about line in the sand long short though, okay? This is actually a high, a low, and a higher high. Now this kind of tells me that if they do break this later on, that is my line in the sand long short. This could double top, and I'll change that a little bit lower to more like this one possibly for a conservative one. See right across here, that's your lightning 3. Okay, but that's telling you that later on that is your line in the sand. Okay, now you can't see this with minute bars, and you can't see it with, well, you could with 1 minute bars probably, but not 15 minutes or 30 minutes or something like that. This will really help you to get on the right side of the trade, because even though SE, for all intents and purposes, basically was a big uptrend, there was a lot of chances to get short too, wasn't there? Okay, and that's what we're all about with our trading system, is we're looking for the next trade to set up. Now, if this ratchets up, we could actually look for another mid-band trade. It looks like it wants to ratchet up too. See, right now it's flatlined, but if that closes above that little shadowed area, that's going to ratchet up. And that would give us an opportunity, very possibly, to get us another trade. Okay, so let's see if it ratchets up. Everybody knows what I mean by ratchet up, right? What's that mid-band if that bar closes up at all? It'll stair step. See there? See that stair step right there? That's telling you now that they took out the high. They may go ahead and retrace at this point. You don't know. but we're flat. So what are we doing? We're waiting on a trade to set up. So we're going to look for like a mid-band trade. I like to get Fibonacci's on mine. This one I would probably go for 50. Let's go for a 50 just for the fun of it. You don't really want it to take out this low. So where could your stop be if you got in this trade? Right there. See, because if this was to get a high, a low, and a higher high, and then take this out, that's not heading up anymore. That would be a start of a downtrend. So we're looking for a 50%. Let's see if we can get one. We'll do an auto region close. Let it close, and that'll move. When you first put it on, it just pops it on. There you go. All right, so we're going to actually set this. Only if it gets down here, we're going to turn this on. But you don't want to turn it on now because it'll fire trades, and you're at the top. So that's not the way we trade. I don't care if it goes up another 50 ticks. You can't do that and consistently make money because they're always in the mode of retracing. Now see, as that kind of heads down, we might be able to turn this on because see, it's more below it. But I'd probably do it 2 ticks above and just kind of watch it. That's right at mid-band. That's a little bit lower. Let's see what it does. Let's turn it on. That's right at a 50. Now, I would probably even turn on bar close on that one because if that bar closes up, I'd take it. See there? You're in 2. Now, we only went 2 that time. Okay, so we're only going to hit 8 and 12 or get stopped out. So we put our stop just right there just in case. Okay. Now, I would probably, if I was trading this trade, though, I would more than likely at least move this one target right here, at least up to that swing, you know, simply because you want more money if you can get it. See, and it looks like it's going to. And then I would probably move my stop. Well, we're at break even. We're good. We're good. Okay. Does everybody see how you can draw in your charts, though? I mean, just in 30 minutes, I've gone over exactly how to see these trades so that you can tell where the line in the sand long short is. And you can absolutely just almost guarantee yourself that if our trend changes, it's going to be going the other way for a little while anyway. Okay. It looks like we didn't quite get that. Let's see if we can. I'd go a little higher, that predictor says right there. But we're going to protect it just in case. Now, could this go to the moon? Well, we don't really care with just 2 because I'm going to either make the $100 and it looks like it stopped us. So that's fine. Okay. Now, if it bounces right here, I'd probably more than likely take that again simply because it's a higher low. But that's up to the individual. Okay. See, we got a little bit again by doing that. And we'd have to put our stop right across there, at least exit on close. Okay. Let's see. So in a nutshell, conservative line in the sand, lightning 3. Well, when it draws, yes, because see how this drew right here? Let me just clear off the slate and show you. I wish we would have been watching that when that drew because you could kind of tell where it draws. But this is telling you right here that right here is your line in the sand, long short right there. And if I get one that's really close to another swing, let me show you what I mean. See how that's a lightning 3 swing right there? But that's also a lightning 3 swing. So that kind of tells me that, well, that might be my line in the sand long short instead. See what I mean? Just right across there. And then you think, uh-oh, that's a phantom though, isn't it? Well, then guess what? We would either not take a phantom if it breaks line in the sand, or we would wait for it to actually break down, because if it does break line in the sand, long short, it more than likely will break down. But it doesn't do it every single time. It does it more like if you take the break out, you got to not let it go against you. You know, in other words, like if I wanted to short this break, if this breaks this at all, okay, I'm going to watch it. See, it's not breaking it yet. So we're not going to short it yet. See what I mean? It's not breaking our line in sand long short. Matter of fact, it got another trade, but that's not the trade I would take because it didn't ratchet up. What did Bob say just a few minutes ago in the room? It's not ratcheting. You took a trade over here that ratcheted. Okay. I even took, well, this trade, see, had ratcheted high, low, higher, high. So you took that trade, but it didn't ratchet above this swing here. I'm going to try. Well, it's too late now. It already went. I'm not going to take that. You'd want to grab that literally just as it went through that line and try to get 6 or 8 ticks or something like that. But notice how this is breaking our line in the sand long short. Now, that doesn't mean that this won't be a good phantom, okay? And if you want a phantom trade, there it is right there. That's a line 1 phantom, okay? Now, I'd put a pretty tight stop just in case, but that is a true line 1 phantom, okay? Will it give us both those trades, 8 and 12? I don't know. It might. We're going to hold it and see. Well, you got one of them anyway, so let's see if it goes to break even. 12 ticks, it'll go to break even. That's not 12 ticks. Now this is where you got to make your mind up. Is this going to be a lower high or a higher low? If it gets 12 ticks, it'll go to break even. Didn't quite get 12 ticks. I think I'd protect that trade just in case. That way you're not going to lose any money on it. See what I mean here? Because that actually kissed and rolled in a way, didn't it? Okay, now here's another thing that you want to look for when you're trading too. Okay, if you took, this was an aggressive line in the sand, let's kill this before it takes us. Okay, see how you have a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Well, that's only your lightning, like 2. What you want to look for is a little bit of a retracement. Now, to me, this is actually a 1, 2, like so. And then this would be the breakdown, right? If they break that area right there, which they did by a couple of ticks or so. So this is telling me that they want to take this down, right? But so far, that's still just a phantom. You see what I mean? So don't just fall for that. Matter of fact, one other way that you can do this, I don't know if this will work on playback or not, but let's try it. Let's do a break and kiss short, and we're going to break this area right here. If it'll break, we're going to break this. And I want to break it at least down to here. So let's do it like break and kiss like, let's go like, that should be about 8 ticks. So when you do that, what this does is this is going to tell this to do a limit order right here if this touches this line. In other words, it's got to break and kiss. Now you could also do, just in case it decides to go up, you do a break and kiss long and bring this puppy right up in here where that resistance is right there. And do a break and kiss long and see if it break and kiss and head up. Let's see which one it does. Now remember, this isn't going to even fire at all unless it goes up to that dotted line, because it's got to do a limit order. Okay, this is a new script that we added. I haven't even used this one this much myself. I had our programmer design it because I want to use it, but I thought, you know, it'd be good to have in the Viper stuff. See, this is telling you right here, for instance, because this did do a phantom, and we missed that one, and we got that one, but we just literally got stopped out pretty close to break even. But if this was to break up, taking out all the resistance across here, and then come back and kiss this line, it would actually fire a limit order. So you could be ready either way. Let's speed this up a little bit. This is pretty slow. See what it does here. Well, that's like a break and kiss roll right there at my line anyway, but let's see if we can get this. It's got to break and kiss that line at least, or we're not getting it. Now that should do a limit order right there if we go short. I think I just missed it. I forgot to turn that on. I did. But if this rolls over, I would probably get the trade. Let's see if we can get it. There's your limit order right there. All right, there's your 2. Put your stop right across there. And then if this rolls over, like on a, well, it already rolled, so it's too late. See how that break and kiss can work? Now, we may not make anything on this trade because it looks like they want us, but we'll see. That's just 2 contracts, so we're just trying to get $200. Now, could you stay with this trade? Absolutely. You know, just move that, and keep in mind that you can then move it with your little swings across there, like so, and just keep moving it out of the way, and that could turn into a great trade. See what I mean? So you can move it. If you see it starting to move like that, just move your targets. And by the way, we've got it built into the script where you can actually just move it, like say line 3 if you want. Stop by line, you can do like line 3. There's your stop right there. And if it exits above it, it would close you out. If not, you're still in the trade. See how that works? Now let me ask you a quick question. Where's your line in the sand long short on this chart now? Anybody? It's kind of showing you. Okay? Always look even at your lightning 3s and your, see, that's like a lightning 3. So there's a lightning 3 right there. That's resistance. And look to the left to trade the right. That's not much of a swing, but that's a little wick. So I'd probably say, you know what? You might want to take that out too. And this tells me right here, now we don't know if it's going to do it because it could still keep heading down, but this is telling me that this area right here could very well be my change to the upside. Not that it's going to, just that that's what it would take to do it. Because you're going to always want to draw your line in the sand long short on your chart so that, there we go, we got stopped out. Let's see what happens here. That's a higher low. Still trying to roll over so far, but that's pretty sloppy, so I think I'd wait. We could have gotten that short real quick, but I've got it running too quick. Everybody sees where that line in the sand long short is, right? So you as a trader are going to be patient. And the key to it is, now if this stair steps at all, then you can get the first pullback. But keep in mind, you also have a, quote, breakout area. See how that's now getting a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high? That's going to break up. I'd take it right there, actually. Why would I do that? Because I saw that higher low. See that higher low right here? See how that works? This will make a world of difference in your trading, because you drew on your chart ahead of time. You knew where your line in sand long short was. You had a little swing right here that's not really a major swing. It was just a little micro. So that's telling you that they want to take this up. And so you could be in this when it breaks up, kisses it, and goes back up through that line. See how that works? I drew that in real time in the room this morning too. Okay. So did that turn out to be a good trade? Well, let's find out. I drew it on my chart. Let's see if it goes up any higher. Oh yeah. That's what you're looking for right there. And see how quick you can get a trade like that if you draw on your charts. I'm going to show you on that ESI after we close the room exactly the same type of trade. They do it all the time. You just got to learn to really draw on your charts and see it. And when they're doing that choppy guard, you'd probably take profit. That's a predictor. I would anyway. So let's see where we can get in this thing. I mean, we got in right here, obviously, because I called it. But let's see where we can get in again. I would look for a retrace. Let's see, you got a lightning 3 right here, so that's a thrust. With that being so close, I'd probably say this is my Fibonacci. So let's see, they broke out here, they checked here, right? You don't want them, and think about this, if you get in a trade like this, like at this 50, your stop could be higher than this because that's a swing. Okay, so let's see if we can get in something. We'll just turn on our box. We're not going to turn it on yet, though. I'm going to talk with, I had a brainstorm the other day. I'm going to talk with Pat and see if where we can turn these boxes on, but only have them start activating if you turned it on, to where it would even, it would have to be in the shadowed area or in the phantom area, or it wouldn't really do it. Let's see what it does here. No trade yet. We don't care if it goes up. It's still going up on our original trade. We're looking for a retrace. That 50 looks very inviting to me. Now, right here, see, there's your swing. You do not want to take that out. Everybody sees why on that, right? The reason you don't want to take that out, because you would be heading, that's your line in the sand long short. See how you had a thrust up, retrace, thrust up, retrace, thrust up a little bit? That's a line in the sand long short. That's telling you that if they break that, that they're going to be heading down, not up. So let's go ahead and see if we can get in a trade. We'll put it on 2 ticks above that box and see if that box actually goes ahead and spins around, or what it's going to do for us. 2 ticks above. And I'd probably grab that at that 50 right there myself. But see how tight that box went? There you go. You just got you a trade. Does everybody see that's making a line in the sand long short? I mean, let's stop this for just a second. We don't care if this takes this top out, because this is still a line in the sand long short. And let me show you why. Because this is a high, this is a low, that's a lower high right now, right? So if they were to spin this around instead of taking that top out, that would still be your line in the sand long short. Let me show you exactly why. If it takes this top out, that's still going to be your line in the sand long short. Everybody sees that, right? Because the whole thing is, let's get this out of the way for just a second so you can see this. This is really important in your trading, because here's what happens a lot, is that they'll get a nice bounce, but then they'll get a lower high and they'll take this out. Well, that would be a quote line in the sand break if they do that. But also, if it does go to that top, that's still going to identify that swing right here. So for the meantime, this is your line in the sand long short. See, this so far has only done about a 50 or 61% retracement. Now, if it takes out this top, which it looks like it might, then this is still going to be your line in the sand long short. The beauty of seeing this in real time is that you can actually make it to where you know where to draw your lines on your charts. Okay, we don't know how high this is going to go, but we know we put our stop nice and tight now, right? Obviously a little tight. I put it right underneath that swing myself, right across there with a close of a bar, because you don't know if it's going to go up yet or if it's going to pull back a little bit. See what I mean? And if it goes ahead and heads up, we're happy campers. We're just happy. But see how this is still your line in the sand long short? They're right at that top. That's still a lower high, just a little bit. That's telling you that's your line in the sand long short. Let's see, why is that green dot line in the sand but not the one just below? You're talking about this one right here. I kind of see these as a high, a little pullback, and then kind of a thrust. This is like a high, a little pullback, and then a thrust, a little pullback. You see what I mean? So each time they make these swings, there you go. See how beautiful that turned out to be? That's the way you can make some pretty fine money trading right there, because we know where our line in the sand long short is. Matter of fact, I'd probably move one target out of the way, get this one ready to take it just in case they double top. See, because they could double top. How do you not continue? Let's see, how do you not continue? Please explain. Well, basically, what you got to start really seeing as much as possible over here. Let me just draw lightning 2. See lightning 2 right through there? See how, right, like here, for instance, see how you had a high here, a low, higher high. They like to do ABC, pull back, keep that swing, ABC, pull back, keep that swing, and then they get a high and they take this out, you get out of the trade. That's your left side of the chart at that time, and they did take it out. So then you get ready for another trade. But see how this was stair-stepping right here the whole time? Each time it made a higher low. And if it barely made a higher low, it would check that swing, but it wouldn't take out that swing. That's why I call that my ABC of staying in a trade. Okay, but if you get these real big moves like this, see where it really takes out that top by like 7 ticks or so, then you want to put your stop at the swing itself. When they barely take out these tops like here with a wick, they won't hold these. They just never will. Okay, but they'll hold the previous one. Okay, now that turns out to be a what? That's another trade right there. Could you enter that trade? I probably would. I'm not going to even check my fibs. I'm just going to take it because that's a mid-band trade. Okay, but you also realize that each time they do this, they will tell you where the line in the sand long short is, because again, the whole thing is if we get a high here, a low here, any kind of lower high, that would still be your line in the sand long short, because they would be doing a 1, 2, 3 if they broke it. Okay, now we don't know they're going to do that, so let's look at it in real time and see what it does. See, but that's still so far a high, a low, a lower high. We lost both our targets because I was talking. But anyway, see how that's your line in sand long short right there. That's a beautiful line in sand long short. That's telling you that if they break that, they're going to head down, and then you can wait for a retrace. And if you don't believe that, I can show it to you over and over and over where it works. Okay, let's go. I've got only 9 minutes left, so I want to show you one other thing here. I'm going to do ES, and we're going to go to where the room closed down. So bear with me a second. I'm going to go like maximum speed on this until it catches up with after the room. Just let it go. Almost there. Close enough. All right, so that's 10 o'clock. Now let's diagnose this chart and see where your line in the sand long short is. Anybody? Tell me where it's at, and I'll be more than happy to put the line there. Anybody see it? You got to be able to see it, because you don't know, I mean, until it takes it out, is it still heading down? Absolutely. Okay? So as long as it's heading down, you're fine, but you got to keep drawing your line in the sand long short. Matter of fact, that would have been a perfect right at 10 o'clock rollover trade. Let's just keep it going and see if you can see the line in the sand. I see the line in the sand right there right now. And then I look to the left to trade the right, and I say, okay, I've got a swing here. So I'd probably say that's my aggressive. This is more my conservative right here. Sorry about that. That's more my conservative right across there. And that's still below mid-band though, so I'd be cautious about this, but let's see what it does. Now where is it? It's trying to be right here, but it isn't yet. And I look to the left to trade the right. I got a low, high, lower, low. So this right here looks like it to me. Let's see what it does. Broke it. Still rolled over so far. Where's your line in the sand? Well, I think we just missed it. Low, high, higher, low. Anyway, we missed it right through here on that one, unfortunately. See right across there? Low, lower, low. It's starting to break up, isn't it? So what do you do as a trader then? What do you think you would do in a case like this? Anybody? You got to be ready for it to break the other way. If it's going to go the other way, it's going to tell you, and it'll tell you by looking at your line in sand long short. Okay? Everybody see how to draw that, right? Because I'm here to tell you, you can get some monster trades. You can literally get some monster trades. I think we missed this one, but truthfully, I would, since that's breaking up right here, I would probably still box this in. Now, I'd have to be careful. Let's put a little region right there, and let's go 2 ticks out of it. It's breaking. Okay, it's breaking the swing over here to the left even. See your ABC. It's even breaking that area right there. So that's like a line in the sand long short, in my opinion. What do you think? I'd take it. Matter of fact, I did take it this morning. And all you got to do in a case like this right here is it's already been to phantom. It's definitely breaking a line in the sand long short, right? So take the trade. So what you do is you set your auto max, which means it'll go to your max quantity. You set your max quantity to whatever you want. All right. You can set these at anything you want, and you just go for the gusto. Trade the trade, because line and sand long shorts will make a world of difference in your trading. And how many of you actually are seeing this? If you don't, draw it, because you'll see it if you draw it. What is that doing right now? Anybody? It's stair-stepping. Now, the mid-band hasn't stair-stepped yet. The mid-band will not stair-step until it takes out this top. I won't wait for that top for a breakout type trade. Now, I could be on the wrong side of this, but guess what? I would simply put my stop underneath that swing to begin with. See that little swing that's identified, high, low, higher, high? So if this does get me in, let's just see if that, I think it's awful close to where I got in that trade this morning. After the room closed. Okay, so you're in some extra. All right, you're in 3. You got your stop now underneath the swing. There's a swing right there you'd probably want to put 1 target at. It's pulling back a little bit. I'd probably even add 1, truthfully, if it even tried to get a higher high. See it? Taking out that little swing. But anyway, we won't. We'll just leave it. Did anybody trade this after the room closed, by the way? This silly thing just kept going and going and going. And I was watching that P&L, and I said, oh my goodness, Essie, you are on fire. Anybody trade that after the room closed? And I even said when we were in the room that we were going to finally get a trend change. We always do. That little trade literally just went to the moon. Okay, but we're also very astute traders, so you got to put your stop somewhere. See how that lightning swing's drawing way down here? You don't want your stop way down there. Okay. Now, if this goes on up, you'll finally get another swing draw. But you probably want to use lightning 1 on this, because this is really heading up, and it won't draw lightning 2 at all. Because lightning 2 has to have 2 bars up and 2 bars down. Do you see 2 bars going down at all? 1 bar goes down, 1 bar goes up, 1 bar goes down, 1 bar goes up. Up, up, down, up, down. This one's going down a little bit. We might get a lightning 2 draw here. Let's see. See, it did draw it. And so if this was to continue heading up, guess what? You could literally put your stop right underneath that swing. See how that works? Line in the sand, long, short will make a world of difference in your trading. Because remember, I was up like 2020 in the room this morning and got that little account up to 4185. Oh, wait, this wasn't even the PA. This one was 4185 all by itself. The other one I showed at 2020 was only up like $6,000. Or no, it was only up 2,000. It was the first day of it. I remember it. So see, 4185 on that trade just literally took adding a few contracts. See how that works? So always be ready and see where your line in the sand along short is, because you'll be able to tell. All right, I'm going to just kill this tray, but I'm going to put it in fast mode, and hopefully we can catch a line in the sand. Let's see if we can catch it in max mode. Anybody see a line in the sand along short starting to draw? I do. Anytime they get down around these phantoms, if it pops up, that's going to be our new line in the sand along short. You watch. Yep. See it? So now you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high. We don't have a lower low yet. All right. That's your line in the sand along short. Look to the left, and if you see a line in the sand along short, draw it down like to the next swing lower, just in case. See this little swing right there? Like right there? That would be your line in the sand along short too. Let's see if it works. We'll just watch it. So far, you're just phantoms. Line in the sand along short. There you go. There you go. It works. I'm here to tell you. See how that kissed now and rolled? Okay. So we did it too fast to catch it, but see how that broke that line in the sand along short? And this even came up with an aggressive one right here. See your high, your low, your lower high. When they took this part out right here, that was also your line in the sand along short right across there. Because that would be a 1, 2, 3. I always look to the left to trade the right, though, and I wouldn't have taken until at least took out that swing right there. And it did break it and kiss it. See how that works? I don't know. Did it go down anymore? Let's find out. I accurately predicted that line in the sand along short. Yeah, it went down some more, too. Now, let me ask you a question. Where's your line in the sand along short again for tomorrow? Let's let this thing go, see where it does. Broke your line in the sand along short, didn't it? There you go. That's where you're at as of when I had my data. So everybody sees that, right? That's kind of sloppy through here, but let's turn this off just for a second so you can kind of see where your line in the sand along short was staying. As this kept heading down and getting lower lows, and you started breaking these swings and you break these areas right here, this is pretty much right across this area right here, that line 5 that Charles always used to talk about, that Charles would box in when you get a green background and stuff. Anyway, you probably weren't trading it at this time, but it did break. So could you have been long on that? Yes. Now, I was running it at max speed, so it's kind of hard to catch in real time because I was running it at max. But guess what? Then you can wait for a what? A pullback into mid-band and see if you can get a trade. Because that also works, doesn't it? And can you tell where your line in the sand along short is right now? And then we're going to wrap. I see a high, a low, a higher high. That's my line in the sand along short right there. My line in the sand along short is also right there on a conservative. Let's see if it ever breaks, just for the fun of it. Oh, wait, I don't have any more data. Well, let's put the real stuff on and see. I got my lines on there, so that's fine. Hopefully this will give us the real data. I'll go to Top Step. Let it load. Was I right? That's before the bell, but look at this after. This is after 5 o'clock. Did it break that box and head down? Yes, it did. So could you have been looking for shorts when they break line in the sand and retrace and roll over? There was your box. Anybody get an epiphany out of this tonight a little bit? Because you can look at this chart and even tell where your line in the sand along short is to the upside again too. You got a lightning 3 swing right there. That's your line in the sand along short. So if they take it out, guess what? They ain't heading down no more. So what would you be looking for? A break and a kiss. Okay? So tonight's webinar was Let's Start at the Basics of Viper, and this is part 4. This was about line in the sand. And I think the line in the sand can make a world of difference in your trading, because when I traded this earlier on ES, right here, that literally got this P&L right there for the day. And that particular account I showed the other day, you know, I literally only have, I think I'm on the 6th day on this particular one. But if you use my little sheet, you can also tell, you know, for instance, let's just say that you had a $6,780 day, remember? Well, then you got to keep going to get to 22.6. So that's where this is at right now, is at 74.02. So I've not had a bigger day than 67.80. So that means when I get $2,200 more dollars, that particular account will pay me because of that consistency rule. Okay? All right, let me see if I missed any questions at all, and I'll stick around for a couple of minutes and answer some questions. Just a second. Good webinar. Got busy towards the end. Fast moving times. I apologize for that. Yeah, that was fast. All right. Well, let's see. I'm in a GC Phantom right now. It's just a traditional trade. There you go. All right. Anybody have any other final questions? Yeah, the best way to do it is by the KISS back. Okay. And keep in mind, don't be a deer in the headlights, because to me, when this did, like, let me just draw this and then we're going to wrap this. This is another way to look for it too, is when they break these swings on the left. They pull back and give you higher low. You don't know that at the time, but you do when it does that. See when it breaks that? And then what do? They come back and kiss that same little spot right there they broke. So yeah, you can even box that as far as that goes too, because it was a trend change. And I saw it happening and I said, you know what? 10:30 in the morning, they usually pop these things and go. I mean, you can set your clock by this time right here on trading. They do this all the time. They'll give you another last gas possibly on the same trend, and then all of a sudden they just go like a house fire. Okay, so I hope this helped everybody a little bit. But like I say, keep in mind, you can already tell where your line in the stand long short is right now. It's not an after the fact thing. You can literally tell that if this breaks this area right here and come back and kisses it somewhere in this area, that this is going to do a whole different trend change. Now, if it stays under this, it's going to roll over and take out this low. Or it's going to even get higher lows and it'll finally do the trend change. And since we are, let's say that you started trading right now and it's 8 o'clock in the evening, 8:07, you got a flat line midband. Either box it in or wait for the actual trend change, because it'll happen. I'll leave this chart for tomorrow morning. We'll see what it looks like. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And always remember, when they're just doing this choppy stuff during the morning, you know, some of this stuff right here at like 8 o'clock, where was it? Yeah, this stuff right even here, you had this little rollover, barely took out the low. You know, then they had this little bounce where we had our line drawn. They were fairly sloppy today for a while. But they finally will do their, you know, line in the sands and break them and head the other direction. They'll break them again, they'll head in the other direction. It's just like clockwork. Okay. All right, we'll see everybody in the morning. Thanks again. Oh, you got your PA today, Andrew. Congratulations. All right, I recorded this, so I'll get it posted in the morning. Have a good evening.